Hey, 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 today is National Fried Chicken Day. Yes, that's right, it's National Fried Chicken Day. So obviously, I'm waiting for President Trump to tweet a photo of himself sitting there with a big bucket of chicken. I don't know, maybe he already has. I have absolutely no clue. But I do know the POTUS is a big fan of fried chicken, at least from KFC he is. Anyway, it's time to get going on a Friday because the Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Yes, Jeff McAleer back once again as your host here at the Daily Dope. Presented by thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the Grand Poobah. So welcome aboard, TGIF. Today is Friday, July 6th. So I do want to hope that everyone out there enjoyed a great and very safe 4th of July, at least those of you in the United States. And of course, if you're watching and you don't live in the US, well, I hope you had a cool couple of days. So had a great Wednesday and Thursday, I suppose. Do want to point out I'm back a little early. I was planning on kind of camping for a little bit longer, but you know, it was raining and the weather was just kind of blah in northern Illinois. So we came back a little bit early. And funny enough, today is a beautiful day. The sun's shining. It's not humid at all. It's just gorgeous out. So, you know, it is what it is. That's what happens. But I do want to take some time out. I want to thank all of you out there who have subscribed to the Gaming Gang. Really appreciate it. Just recently cracked 1,000 subscribers, finally. So YouTube is once again taking a look at monetizing the channel, which, you know, isn't a huge deal, but it does bring in a few bucks. And basically, it was just the subscribers level that kind of kicked me off of being monetized before. The watch time for the videos is perfect. Got that beat by, I believe, like 2,000 hours a year. So big thank you to all the folks out there who are subscribing. If you aren't a subscriber, please subscribe. It's pretty easy. And it's not as if, you know, I'm going to send you junk mail or anything else like that. So big thank you. I want to send out actually an especially big thank you to the wargamers out there, because I know the wargamers do catch a lot of the coverage that I do for GMT Games, as well as Tiny Battle Publishing, Flying Pig Games, Victory Point Games, and so forth. So thank you so very much for subscribing and supporting the Gaming Gang and thus the Daily Dope. So do want to point out I got some new goodies from AEG today too, which I'm going to show off in just a second. But today I am actually going to take a really deep dive into Tales from the Loop from Free League and Modiphius Entertainment. Yes, granted, this is not a brand new RPG. It has been out for over a year, but it did win a ton of ENnie awards at Gen Con last year, and it's supposed to be fantastic. So I'm actually going to page through this so that people can get a really good look at the core book for Tales from the Loop. So I happen to have the games that arrived from AEG kind of propping up the Tales from the Loop book. So early this morning, I got a package. I was like, hey, sweet, new AEG stuff. So in the very near future, we're going to take a look at the latest Smash Up expansion, Oops, You Did It Again, which I believe has ninjas or samurai, cowboys. What else we got in here? Oh, Vikings, obviously enough. And it looks like mummies or an Egyptian theme. So we've got 4 new factions for Smash Up. I know I was talking with John Zinzer at Origins Game Fair, and you should catch the interview because we talk about all this different stuff from AEG. And we kidded around about how people think, hey, there's no more tropes or memes that can be brought out for Smash Up. And obviously enough, that is not the case. So I've got that. Then Next Friday, we're actually going to be taking a peek at Istanbul, the dice game. So if you are a fan of Istanbul, the board game, you're probably going to want to check out the dice game, which is from AEG. I got to be honest, I've never played Istanbul, so this looks like a pretty interesting trading game. So that is going to be on next Friday's show, so I just want to point that out. And then the newest, bigger-sized expansion for Mystic Vale, Twilight Garden, is arriving, and I am going to be unboxing this probably a week from Monday is going to be my guess. Although, I have to be honest, I've got to reach out to Mara over at AEG because, strangely enough, I'll get some stuff from AEG and then I don't get other things from AEG. And I honestly have never received the core game for Mystic Vale. So I get some expansions for it and I've done unboxings for them, but I haven't been able to play it because I don't have the core game. So I think I'm going to reach out to Mara and see if maybe she can get me a copy of the core game sent my way. I'm not going to twist any arms or anything like that, but I think it would be pretty cool. I've heard good things about it. I've heard a lot of good things about it, actually. So anyway, so that's some stuff that I've got on the horizon. I've got a good amount of news today, a little heavy on RPG stuff, but I do want to point out one of my favorite games designed by my good buddy Herman Luttman is going to return to print by way of Victory Point Games. That's right, the 3rd edition of Dawn of the Zeds is on Kickstarter right now, and you can once again get your hands on a copy. And here's the dope. The Zeds are back and hungrier than ever. Be afraid. Be very, very afraid. Back for another bite is this reprint campaign for Dawn of the Zeds, 3rd edition, and the undead are just drooling to meet you. Arm yourself with a weapon or 3, grab plenty of supplies, and go guns blazing into the chaos. New to Dawn of the Zeds, 3rd edition, are 3 fantastic tension-packed expansion packs to aid you in your fight against the unrelenting horde of Zeds. Quick note, the reprint of Dawn of the Zeds 3rd edition includes all original gameplay stretch goals except for No Brains mode, but you'll be able to download that for free. There are no stretch goals for the expansions as we've decided to include everything from the very beginning. Sweet. Things are far from good in Farmingdale. Some kind of virus or poison is turning ordinary people into vicious, zombie-like killers. You must lead citizens and emerging heroes to halt the Zeds' advances by re-killing them. Attempt to coordinate the discovery of a cure and preserve as much of the area and as many of its inhabitants as possible. There's no time to lose. Dawn of the Zeds slap 3rd edition is a cooperative States of Siege board game for 1 to 5 players that plays in 90 to 120 minutes. Your heroes must defend Farmingdale and its 5 outlying villages from the encroaching horrors. These heroes are supported by civilians, some armed, some heroic, and what little outside help is forthcoming. You must prevent the Zeds' incursion from reaching the town center or causing so much chaos around Farmingdale that the government abandons it and you. There's a whole world to experience for players new to the apocalyptic city of Farmingdale. For players who have experienced Dawn of the Zeds in previous editions, there are plenty of new things to discover as well. As pointed out, it is for 1 to 5 players. There's co-op, solitaire, and versus gameplay, 6 expanding levels of gameplay, heroes with unique abilities, truly cinematic gameplay experience, and I do want to point out that there is it's about a 3-minute video with Alan Emmerich talking about 3rd edition Dawn of the Zeds. So let's kick back and watch with Alan.
Hi, I'm Alan Emmerich. I'm the head Zed here at Victory Point Games, and I'm here to tell you about 3rd edition Dawn of the Zeds right now on Kickstarter. Dawn of the Zeds began as a small Ziploc bag game back in our early days 8 years ago at Victory Point Games. As the little game company grew, we were better able to produce finer components. And so when we got improved component capabilities, we went to our back catalog and looked for our best games, and there was Dawn of the Zeds.
We chose Dawn of the Zeds because Dawn of the Zeds second edition and the first edition were both really well-liked games, very strong games, a lot of fun to play, very intense and challenging.
When we first brought it out, it could only play one. It was a solitaire game. But with this third edition, what we've done is we decided to expand it so that way you can play up to 4 characters, or 4 players, and they each control their own character.
We felt it really needed that extra push to get more people aware of how great Zeds really is. And I'm really glad we also decided to make it co-op instead of solitaire as it was in the previous editions, so that we can get people involved and even feeling the tension together as they go through this really tense game.
You're trying to defend the town of Farmingdale, and so you play as a set of different heroes doing that task. Each hero has their own set of special abilities, and so it really brings to life each of those characters.
New in Dawn of the Zeds 3rd edition is co-op gameplay. Dawn of the Zeds began as a solitaire-only game, and in the 2nd edition we tacked a little co-op variant in, but now, baked right into the game, it's all set for co-op play, and it works beautifully.
There's a tremendous amount of replayability. The replayability comes in many different facets. The first is that you can play solo, you can play with many people, you can play a versus game.
What could I have done this time? Could I have built more barricades? Could I have spent more actions more wisely? There's a wide variety of things you can think about, and you just set it up and try again.
The whole game is story-driven. You draw a card, it tells you what's happening, it's got a lot of fluff, and the mechanics completely revolve around that storytelling element. And so as you reveal what card's coming up, you scream, you see the terror, you know, it's brutal. Like I said earlier, it's just mean.
Beyond the lauded base game, 3 new expansion packs prove that small additions can add big gameplay. In Stepping Forward, you receive 4 new player units. In the New Player Blues, you receive 14 new blue level cards and Bouncing Betty Bolivar. For Zeds players wishing for just plain help, bring to Town Center the Rumors and Rails expansion.
The Kickstarter project funded in less than 2 hours when it launched yesterday. So there is absolutely no problem with reserving a copy of the base game, plus all the extra goodies from the last Kickstarter, for a $69 pledge. You can get the core game and the 3 expansions for $79, or if you want just the expansions, if you're like me and already have a copy of Dawn of the Zeds 3rd edition, you can snag simply the expansions for $19. Project does run through July 27th with an expected delivery of a bit later on this year. Sorry, I had to move something off of my screen there. So, as far as the video you just saw, oddly enough, I think that's the same video with some added, the expansions at the end for the new Kickstarter. But I think most of that video is from the original Kickstarter for the 3rd edition. Strangely enough, there's no video of the game's designer, my good buddy Herman Lutman. And I'm not going to say the reason why, because it's really, not something really we should be discussing. But do want to point out, Dawn of the Zeds is an excellent game. The original Ziploc bag edition, which was strictly solitaire, was my game of the year back in, gosh, I want to say, was it 2011, 2012, something like that? And a lot of people busted my chops because they're like, how could you give that your game of the year when it's a Ziploc bag game? And I was like, you know what? The gameplay is awesome. Now, the 3rd edition does have multiplayer And funny enough, I actually have it right here. I always keep it right over my shoulder here, so it's always in all the shots. But I have to point out, I'm a little ticked off because I played it with my nephew Cameron and some of his friends a few times. And the last time we played, somebody lost my Captain Piazza token. Captain Piazza is one of the core characters in the game. So it's sort of like, yeah, thanks a lot for losing that, guys. Anyway, by all means, if you have not played Dawn of the Zeds 3rd edition, be sure to jump on board with this Kickstarter. I promise you, you cannot go wrong. If you like zombie games and big cinematic action and events that take place that are like right out of zombie movies, you will love it. All right, my next piece of news is going to be for fans of Warhammer 40K. In fact, I've got a couple of Warhammer 40K news pieces because right now we are going to see Kill Team arriving. An all-new edition of Kill Team is coming from Games Workshop later on this month, and I've got the dope. Mass battles between scores of units and thundering war machines are great, but there's always been an undeniable appeal to skirmishes. Those moment-to-moment struggles where victory rests on the efforts of a mere handful of troops and their individual heroics, when every warrior is a distinct character with their own story. Over the years, Warhammer fans have enjoyed a range of skirmish games, from past iterations of Kill Team to the recent Shadow War Armageddon. We've taken the best of these systems and combined them to create a brand new gaming experience. The new Kill Team takes the stuff we know you love, deep squad customization, narrative progression and development, low model counts, and marries it to cutting-edge rules design, bringing in the team behind Warhammer Underworld's Shadespire to ensure the rule set is as tight and balanced as possible. The result is a high-octane skirmish battler Blah, blah, blah. All right, Jeff, come on. You can talk today, can't you? 2 days off and I can't speak the Queen's English anymore? Not that I ever really speak the Queen's English. Anyway, the result is a high-octane skirmish battler where you'll command a handful of elite troops in action-packed squad combat. Your Kill Team is a squad of elite warriors, handpicked by you, consisting of about 5 to 10 individuals. You construct your Kill Team model by model. A squad of Space Marines could consist of 2 Reavers, a missile-launching wielding tactical Marine gunner, a scout with a sniper rifle, and a Primaris Sergeant with a power sword, for instance. Sounds cool. Once you've assembled your Kill Team, you can customize them even further with a deep system of specialisms. That's kind of weird, specialism, and advancements. These allow you to really distinguish your key troops, creating sharpshooting snipers, fearless combat medics, or Vox hacking comms specialists. Kill Teams can be used in one-off missions or in campaigns where they grow in power, leveling up and developing their abilities with bespoke skill trees. This is arriving this month. Later on this month, I do not have an exact release date, but the major release for the game is going to be the Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team Starter Set. This large box includes the Kill Team Core Manual, which is the game's hardcover rulebook, as well as a Begin Here booklet, complete squads for 2 factions, the Skitarii and Genestealer cult, each with plastic models and a background booklet, a double-sided game board, a collection of modular Sector Imperialis terrain pieces, plus all the dice, cards, and rulers needed to play the game. Do have to point out, this big starter box is coming out later this month, but I don't have any MSRP info just yet. I thought that was kind of strange. But if past Games Workshop titles of this size are any indication, we're probably looking at somewhere in the vicinity of $150. Which reality isn't terrible, seeing that the core book is hardcover. I bet you the core book's probably going to sell by itself for about $60. and then you're going to get terrain, you're going to get different models. So not a bad deal for 150 bones, thereabouts. So I gotta say, I've always liked skirmish games. I've always liked skirmish miniatures. I have delved into Frostgrave a bit from Osprey Games, kind of looking at maybe introducing my nephew and his friends to it, because they play a lot of WizKids HeroClix. So I was looking at, introducing them to something that's got a little more depth to it. Plus, I dig the fact when you've got a miniatures game and you've got the different models, the different characters who can level up and advance, get experience, get new skills, things like that. All right, sticking with a Warhammer 40K theme, release information has arrived from Ulisses North America regarding Warhammer 40K Wrath and Glory. It is a hotly anticipated role-playing game that is going to arrive just in time for Gen Con. In fact, Gen Con should be the official release, and I've got the dope. On September 28th, that is if you're unable to attend Gen Con and get your hands on a copy there, the core book and starter set will arrive. The hardcover core rules will carry an MSRP of $59.99, while the starter set, which I believe contains a beginner's rulebook and a new starter adventure, Escape the Rock, will carry an MSRP of $49.99. Also in September comes the Wrath deck and Campaign deck, which will both carry MSRPs of $19.99. On October 26th, we'll see the release of the first adventure supplement for Wrath and Glory called Dark Tides, which will be available for $29.99, and the GM screen, which will be $24.99. Do have to point out, the Ulisses North America Game Master screens are really nice. You'll have 2 additional decks also hit on the same date, with the War Gear and Perils of the Warp, each carrying MSRPs of $19.99. Then, on November 30th, will come the Token Pack for $19.99, and 2 more decks, Talents and Psychic Powers for $14.99, as well as Combat Complications for $19.99. Do want to point out right now there are 2 pre-orders for Wrath and Glory going on through Ulisses North America. One includes the core rules, which is the hardcover deluxe edition, Talents and Psychic Powers card pack, the Gear card pack, and 5 Wrath and Glory specialty dice, 4 black and 1 red, and that is $100. Then there's the all-in-one bundle, or I should say the all-in bundle, which is going to include, get ready for it, the hardcover core rules, the Talents and Psychic Powers card pack, the Gear card pack, 10 Wrath and Glory specialty dice, 9 black, 1 red, the Dark Tides Adventure Supplement, the GM screen, the Wrath card deck, the Campaign card deck, Perils of the Warp card deck, Combat Complications card deck, the Wrath and Glory digital soundtrack, 3 double-sided battle maps, 1 large and 2 medium, the beginner's rulebook and that new starter adventure, Escape the Rock, 6 pre-generated characters on deluxe character sheets, 20 ceramic poker chip style counters for Wrath and Glory, and Ruin, I believe it's Wrath, Glory, and Ruin are the poker chip tokens. And then there's also acrylic tokens for characters, enemies, and NPCs, all in an exclusive collector's box, and that will be $290. I know some folks are probably thinking, wow, $290? That's a pricey investment for a role-playing game. Not if you think about all the stuff you're getting. You're getting quite a lot. In fact, you're basically getting everything that has been revealed so far for Wrath and Glory. Do want to point out both pre-orders will also include PDFs of everything that's going to be available in PDF at no additional charge, and you will actually get your hands on those before anything else comes out. So as soon as they're available, you will get everything in PDF. So gotta say, this is pretty cool. I'm hearing a lot of really good stuff about Wrath and Glory. I did a quick video where we took a look at the free RPG day, which is kind of a quick start and an introductory adventure. It's Blessings Unheralded. I do have a link with that video on YouTube as well as on thegaminggang.com that you can follow for the month of July and get that absolutely free in PDF from Drive-Thru RPG, because it actually carries an MSRP of $4.99. But you can snag it for free. All you got to do is go check out either the article with the video on thegaminggang.com, or of course, just check out the video information here on YouTube, and you will find out I got the link right there for you to get that puppy for free, and you can take a peek yourself. See if, hey, is Wrath and Glory something that piques your interest? By all means, jump on in, maybe with a pre-order. Otherwise, enjoy the free quick start in this starter adventure. All right, my final piece of news, and I have to apologize. I'm still a little phlegmy from that con crud from all the way back in Origins. And I'm a little distracted because I've got both the cats down here. And normally they're kind of sacked out, just relaxing. And they are awfully rambunctious. They're kind of bouncing all over the place down here. Anyway, my last news piece is for the latest supplement for Starfinder from Paizo Inc. And it is arriving later on this month. And I've got the dope on the Armory. Gear up! It's a dangerous universe out there, and often the difference between survival and being the next meal for an angry Xaric is having the right equipment. From guns to augmentations to high-tech and magical devices for every imaginable situation, Starfinder Armory is your guide to everything you need. Whether you're a frontline fighter, stealthy spy, or scholarly spellcaster, inside this book you'll find the following. Scores of new weapons, filling out the options for weapons of every category, level, and type, and rules to customize your weapons through weapon accessories, weapon fusions, and different weapon manufacturers. New suits of armor including light, heavy, and powered armor for nearly every level, and numerous armor upgrades. A wide range of new equipment-themed player options, including class features for, you guessed it, every class. Dozens of new pieces of technological, magic, and hybrid items, as well as numerous personal items, new augmentations from cybernetics to magitech and necrographs, and more. The hardcover Armory for Starfinder arrives later this month and carries an MSRP of $39.99, with the PDF arriving on August 2nd for $9.99. I enjoyed the core book for Starfinder. I really dug the release of that last year. I had a chance to read through it, did a review of it. I thought it was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. I have heard through the grapevine, though, that because it sold out so quickly, and of course Paizo had the biggest print run of any product they had ever had for Starfinder, it still sold out pretty quick. So a lot of folks didn't get their hands on it, and that has kind of put a little bit of a wrench on the popularity, thrown a little bit of a wrench, I should say, on the popularity of Starfinder. Plus, I believe they had that issue with some of the books that came out with the binding. There was a problem with that. So, but it is a cool system if you like Pathfinder. And of course, one of the big releases is going to be the sort of playtest rules of Pathfinder 2.0, or I guess we should just say the next edition of Pathfinder. If you like Starfinder, definitely check out the Armory. And if you like Pathfinder, I thought Starfinder actually changed some stuff up from Pathfinder. It's not just Pathfinder tweaked over to a science fiction sort of setting. There's a lot going on with it. So anyway, so that comes out, the Armory comes out a little later on this month. All right, so I was going to talk about what I've got on the horizon for future shows, and I'm going to dip into the mailbag, just answer a real quick question. So on Monday's show, I am going to review Raiders of the North Sea from Renegade Game Studios. We have been playing this. We are really enjoying it. And I will be, now see, I'm kind of doing a little spoiler. I will be reviewing this on Monday's show. Then on Tuesday's show, we're actually doing a double dip of war games next week. On Tuesday's show, I am going to review Fort Sumter, the Secession Crisis 1860 to 1861, designed by Mark Herman from my good friends over at GMT Games. So I will be reviewing that. Then on Wednesday, I am going to, oh, this is a heavy box. I'm going to unbox and take a first look at Skies Above the Reich, which looks pretty interesting. I love the graphics that they've got. Let me kind of try to zoom in, see if you get a better look. I'm going to kind of tilt this so you don't get a lot of glare. But those plane cars look really cool. And I do believe that the game is for 1 or 2 players. And you're actually leading the Luftwaffe as you try to defend against all the Allied bombing sorties, strategic bombing. And then on Thursday, I am going to take a look at Mutant Year Zero, another release from Free League and Modiphius Entertainment. Another RPG I have heard really good stuff about. And I must point out, the fine folks over at Free League did send me these books, as well as, Our Friends the Machines and Other Tales, taking that off the top of my head, plus some dice, GM screens. So we're going to look at a bunch of different stuff from Free League in the very near future. Free League actually has, gosh, off the top of my head, I can't remember the name of it, but there's a fantasy role-playing game that's on the horizon from them that looks pretty cool as well. So I am going to take a look at Tales from the Loop in just a moment. I know I'm kind of heavy on RPG stuff today, but usually I do that on Thursdays, but there was no show yesterday. So, and I love RPGs. I am a huge RPG fan. I am actually reading through the latest edition of Masks of Nyarlathotep, or Nyarlathotep. I always said Nyarlathotep. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I've always said it. But because I'm going to be running that for the gang, so I'm looking forward to that. Just scratching the surface of that, because that is a big book. It is. I've got it in PDF. It's 600. I want to say 669 pages, 666 pages. So I have just scratched the surface of that. But speaking of RPGs, so I got an email to the mailbag from Mary Kay in Lexington, Kentucky. And on a few shows, I have mentioned that the upcoming new edition of Vampire the Masquerade, I have said I think it's going to be very, very divisive as far as gamers, as far as fans of Vampire. And she had asked why. She was like, I know you've mentioned this 2 or 3 times on previous shows. Why do you think it's going to be such a divisive title? And there's a few different reasons. Now, I have not seen it, okay? And I am not knocking it in any stretch of the imagination because I have not seen it. But I have heard through the grapevine, through some contacts that I have, that number one, a lot of the playtesters were not too thrilled. Okay, I don't want to say a lot, but there were some playtesters who were not too thrilled with the concept that you are monsters, you are evil. I don't know if this ended up in the final edition, in the final version that's going to come out in Gen Con, but I had heard that some playtesters were not real fond of the whole thing, that where you are bad, you are evil, you are a monster. There's no good vampires or anything like that. So some folks didn't care for that. Some of the playtest material, one of the characters in the playtest material is a pedophile. I don't know. I mean, that's a little odd to me, pushing that kind of angle. Yes, they're supposed to be bad people. I get it, but playtest character is a pedophile? That's sort of weird, kind of odd. And then I had also heard that originally the game was being shopped around to different publishers. and some of them took a pass on it, which is not unusual for role-playing games. It's not, for an example, Octung Cthulhu from Modiphius Entertainment was originally going to come out for Cubicle 7 Entertainment, and then Cubicle 7 saw the finished product, wasn't exactly what they wanted, so they actually didn't publish it. It ended up going over to Modiphius Entertainment. Same thing kind of happened with White Wolf. They shopped it around to different publishers. They took a pass, so that is going to be available in North America, or at least the English editions of Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition, or V5 as people are calling it, is going to release through Modiphius Entertainment. Once again, I'm not knocking the game. I have not seen it. It's very possible that some of these aspects of the game were changed because of feedback from playtesters. But I do think that they're sticking with the whole, you are not going to have like redeeming qualities to the characters. And I think some people will take issue with that. Myself personally, I've been playing role-playing games for almost 40 years, maybe 40 years, and I have never played an evil character. I have no interest in playing an evil character. So I can see there are other people like me. I mean, I'm talking, when I say role-playing games, I'm talking even online games and PC games and things like that. I never play an evil character because it's just not my bag of tricks. So anyway, Mary, that is why I think Vampire is going to be fairly divisive with its fan base. Once again, I have no idea. I have not seen the book. I have not seen much content. One thing I have seen, there was a preview that came out. I talked about it last week. I think the photography looks pretty cool. Although it's a weird mash of like cool photography, really unusual, unique photography, and artwork. And some of the artwork is just, I don't know, from what I saw, it just doesn't mesh right. It has an odd look when you have this really striking photography and then you've got kind of artwork that's sort of like meh. Anyway, so moving along, I am going to be taking a look at Tales from the Loop from Free League, distributed in English through Modiphius Entertainment. It's written by Simon Stålenhag. I know I got that wrong. Niles Hintz and Tomas Herenstam. I guarantee I didn't get any of those names correct. The artwork is by Simon Stålenhag. The core book won 5 Annies in 2017, including Best Game, Best Setting, Best Writing, and Product of the Year. The 192-page hardcover core book is available for $46.99, while the PDF can be had for $24.99 through my friends over at Drive-Thru RPG. And before I jump in, I should point out the Gaming Gang is an affiliate of Drive-Thru RPG, so if you are swinging over to one of the Drive-Thru websites, please hit thegaminggang.com first, click on one of our banners, and if you happen to make a purchase from any of the Drive-Thru sites, we'll get a small portion of that sale. And I say it all the time, that helps keep the Gaming Gang and thus the Daily Dope around. All right, so let's switch on over to the other camera here and start diving on in. So as I pointed out before, Tales from the Loop is not brand new. It has been out for over a year, but I am really, really pumped to take a look at this. I have heard nothing but good things about Tales from the Loop, and the artwork is just stunning. So we're going to take a look at a lot of the artwork as well. I believe Tales from the Loop uses a D6 mechanic. So, taking a look at the back. The landscape was full of machines and scrap metal connected to the facility in one way or another. Always present on the horizon were the colossal cooling towers with their green obstruction lights. If you put your ear to the ground, you could hear the heartbeat of the loop, the purring of the graviton, and the central piece of engineering magic that was the focus of the loop's experiments. Sci-fi artist Simon Stålenhag, Once again, sorry, I'm sure that's wrong. Paintings of Swedish 1980s suburbia populated by fantastic machines and strange beasts have won global acclaim. In this multiple award-winning role-playing game, you get to step into the amazing world of the Loop. Key features: create your unique player character, including skills, items, prides, problems, and relationships in mere minutes. Explore the secrets of the Loop in 2 main game settings, one based on the Swedish Malaren Islands and the other on Boulder City, Nevada. Investigate mysteries and overcome trouble using fast and effective rules based on the Mutant Year Zero game engine. Play the 4 complete scenarios included, tied together in the campaign named 4 Seasons of Mad Science. All right, and then we've got some review blurbs. So I do want to mention that this book is a little bit dinged up, little ding in the corner here. That is not unusual for role-playing game review copies that get sent out. A lot of times, excuse me, a publisher will have a copy of a core book that has like a little ding or maybe a little nick. And of course, they can't sell that. Well, of course, they could sell it. They don't want to sell that. So they send those out for review copies. So, hey, cool with me. I would think that I take care of my books, don't get me wrong, but, you know, I've got some books that have seen some wear and tear, so it's not that big a deal. So here we have a map of the Loop as far as the Swedish area here. All right, so got our credits here. So we have Welcome to the Loop, the Age of Loop, the US Loop, which, if I remember correctly, when this was getting kickstarted, the US setting was like a stretch goal that was unlocked. Then we got the Kids, Trouble, the Mystery Landscape, the 4 Seasons of Mad Science. So there's the campaign with the 4 scenarios. Summer Break and Killer Birds, Grown-Up Attraction, Creatures from the Crustaceous, I, Wagner's. So I think these are the 4 parts. I gotta say, quality of the paper is really nice. Very nice. So welcome to the Loop. I'm sure there are folks out there who are thinking, and we've got the dice here. I actually have the custom dice that Free League did send along to me. I was going to point out, I know there are a lot of folks out there who, there's just a glut of role-playing games that are kind of inspired by Stranger Things on Netflix. This really is not one of them. This was already well through the pipeline. This was ready to go long before Stranger Things premiered on Netflix. Now, that's not to say that there weren't some changes, some tweaks, but this game, as far as I understand, most of the characters, most of the major characters, the player characters, are going to be kids or teens in the 1980s. So role-playing, how does it work? Yeah, I think we know that answer. Rolling dice. Just, I gotta say, this artwork just, you can see why this artwork is such a hit, because it's just so unusual. It's so different. And we'll see, I was gonna say, we've got, you'll see artwork where it's kind of just, kind of an everyday setting, but then there's something there that sort of makes you go, huh? Like, I believe there's like mecha, or kind of like mecha in the game. I seem to recall seeing some artwork where, like, for an example, okay, so here's kind of this beater station wagon, and we've got this, this kind of odd machine doing something with it. So we've got the Age of the Loop, the 80s that never was. Talking about the Swedish Loop. Talking about Sweden in the 1980s. Talking about the Malaren Islands. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that correctly either, so. Yeah, there we go. VHS tape. That's a blast from the past for people my age. Funny enough, I remember back in the day, now I was a kid. I was probably a preteen or just, yeah, I think I was about preteen when VHS tapes were starting to, well, you had the whole Betamax VHS battle. and you'd go and rent movies, and if you lost that tape, that movie would cost like $80 or $100 to replace. Pretty funny stuff there. So once again, we've got a map of the loop here. Home of the loop. So this is all the Swedish setting here. Civilian technology. Once again, that's some very, very cool artwork. And keep in mind, the artist is really the lead writer of this game system, so that's pretty cool too. So we've got different technology. Magnetrine flight, how it works. I didn't know. It's kind of an advertisement. That's kind of cool. An advertisement from a magazine. There we go. Now we got the US loop. Boulder City, best city by a damn sight. Ha ha ha, no pun intended. Wow, that's really I have not seen a lot of this artwork, so I'm like, man, this is, and it's funny because it's sort of like, wow, there's like, it's not like super action packed or anything. It just strikes the eye as something unusual, something different. Things to do in the 80s. Well, hang out at the pool. Yeah, we did that in the summer. Hang out at the mall. Got together and played games all the time with our friends. Inside Boulder City. And here's the map of the Boulder City loop. For some strange reason, I think, I'll have to double check, but I think, if I recall, Free League did send me a map pack for Tales from the Loop. But then again, maybe that's for Mutant Year Zero. I'll have to take another look. So we got Lake Mead, Las Vegas, and beyond. Of course, I have been to Boulder City quite a few times. All right, talking more about the U.S. loop. Here's kind of the mecca I was talking about. Not sure exactly what it is. Now, if you look up here, see the little, like, with a little red eye? I think those are kind of like, I don't know. I know they're on the cover of Our Friends the Machines and Other Tales, or Other Mysteries. I'm trying to remember the name of that. It's actually sitting like over there where I've got, down here in the Duct Tape Studios, I got stuff all over the place. It's like I got things stacked all around. But these little, they're probably not even that little. I think there's some sort of like, almost like units that like control. They're almost like control units of some sort. I could be completely wrong. Okay, then we got the kids. So we've got different archetypes. So we've got the bookworm. We've got the computer geek. Yeah, well, in the 80s, you'd be carrying around like a Commodore 64. It almost looks like a Commodore 128. Got the hick. The jock. I like how they have the jock with a hockey stick because, of course, being the game is really, mainly set in Sweden, you're not going to have baseball players or football players. Of course, if they were football players there, they'd be soccer. The popular kid, the rocker, the troublemaker, the weirdo. I've got age, attributes. So we've got body, tech, heart, mind. Those are the attributes. Got luck points, skills, items, problem. It says all kids have a problem. Yeah, I think that's pretty true. You may have kept yours to yourself or told the other kids. The problem is part of everyday life, something that worries you. Got drives. So the drive is why you expose yourself to dangerous and difficult situations to solve mysteries with your friends. Pride. Every kid has a pride, something that makes you feel strong, important, and valuable. Then we got relationships. Then we got anchor. Conditions, experience, name, description, favorite song, hideout, questions. I have to say that recently we have seen some really cool role-playing games that have the main protagonist, the player characters, as teenagers. And one that I really thought was really, really well done is Bubblegum Shoe. I thought that was really exceptionally well done. It looks as if this Tales from the Loop is going to share some themes with Bubblegum Shoe. But of course, Bubblegum Shoe was, like trying to role play like mysteries like the Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew, stuff like that. But I mean, more modern, more mature. So there was some pretty interesting aspects to Bubblegum Shoe. But hey, we're talking about Tales from the Loop. So we got Trouble, Suffering Conditions, Dice Roll, Items in Pride, Luck, Doing the Almost Impossible. Talking about NPCs, failed rolls, pushing the roll. Yeah, so there's like, these kids are playing on this, like, some sort of almost like tower. Kind of almost has a mushroom look to it. Making a plan, kid versus kid. The skills: sneak, force, move, tinker, program, calculate, contact. I can tell right off the bat looking through this appears that this is a game that is really more set towards telling stories, telling really interesting stories, as opposed to being really, really crunchy rules-wise. I'm not saying that this is really rules light, but it does seem like not a ton of crunch, which is cool. Because a game like this, I would think, especially playing teenagers in that, I would think you're really aiming at something more along the lines of diving into a story, diving into these different mysteries, finding out more about the loop, as opposed to, hey, let's grapple. What are the grappling rules? Yes, I know. That's always my go-to gag. I'm talking about rule bloat. Truth of mystery, the mystery in everyday life. Individual versus group scenes, an overview of the mystery. So this looks a bit like GM info, introducing kids, introducing the mystery, solving the mystery. Oh, hey, a little flow chart. Kind of giving you that's kind of cool. I like that. That's helpful for a game master. Phase 4 Showdown, Phase 5 Aftermath. So once again, this looks as if this is kind of a game where you're looking at acts, which kind of is kind of going. Excuse me. Damn. Boy, I wish I could shake this crap from the con crud. Anyway, I was going to say, this seems like this is a game that kind of plays out sort of like in scenes, like in acts, which is kind of a thing right now in role-playing games. And I find that a lot of times, especially for newer game masters, presenting a game adventure in those ways is pretty helpful for new game masters to kind of wrap their heads around, as opposed to back in the day when you would pick up, I still call them modules. When you would pick up an adventure and the adventure would just be like, okay, so here's the starting point and it goes through here. And there wasn't always kind of a flow for what was going on. It would just say, okay, you're on a dungeon delve and this room has this, and then the next room has this, and then this room has this, and then there's a cavern that's got that. And a lot of times if your characters weren't playing in that, exact, order of rooms and things like that, it would throw a newer GM a little off. Plus, there wasn't a lot to tie it together. It's sort of like, dungeon delves are cool, they're fun, but I wouldn't want to play a game that's all it ever is. Okay, so we got another phase change, setting the mood. Tips for setting the mood. And what is that? That looks like some sort of dinosaur. Kind of oddball dinosaur. That's pretty wild. Okay, NPCs, humans, creatures, and machines. Items. Mind map of the mystery dreams come true. Oh. bigger mysteries and campaigns. Nice. And it looks like these are some items. Looks like different service module. I think that's the little thing with the red eye I was pointing out before. A measurement station. This is really wild. There we go. Triceratops. Huh, okay. Alrighty then. Yeah. Okay. The mystery landscape. See, once again, this is sort of okay, so you're looking at this and you're kind of like, okay, so is that like something that landed and something emerged from there? It's kind of like, I love the artwork. I really do. I think the artwork is really, really unique. Okay, talking about the school library, the dream shop. So are we into chapter 7? I don't think we're into the adventure yet. Got the wildlife club. Yeah, maybe we are. Maybe this is the first part of the adventure. The cooling towers, police station. One thing I would think, as far as a lot of GMs out there, a lot of gamers out there, the question is, I'm sure not all... Oh, here's the adventure. I was going to say, I'm sure not all the... everything about the loop is in this book. That there's a lot of background that needs to be filled in. So, right now, as far as I understand, there are only the 2 releases, the core book as well as the scenario book. The Our Friends of the Machines and Other Mysteries. And I think, if I remember right, I think that has like 6 scenarios. 6 or 8 in that. So we got the 4 seasons, the Mad Science. So it's talking about the background for it, the kids in the campaign. Summer Break and Killer Birds. Okay, so that's a pretty bizarre image there. The Truth of the Mystery. So, giving you an option, you can either do it in Sweden or in the US. This is kind of where the players, the characters look like they're probably getting introduced to each other. I'm going to kind of flip through this a little quicker because we don't want any spoilers here. A lot of good artwork. Grown-up attraction. I do kind of dig the little, how the clues are kind of, okay, so this happens and this happens and this happens. Kind of like that. Now, granted, that's something that longtime game masters already usually have in their heads, or they just jot down some notes. So we got the NPCs and creatures. Creatures from the Crustaceous. This is the 3rd part of the 4-part campaign. Oh, looks like some dinosaurs getting introduced there. Oh, there's a diary. After the showdown, aftermath. And I'm gonna take a guess. It's I. Wagner. That's my guess, not I. Wagner. So it looks as if each of these adventures takes place in a season. So it looks like we started off in summer, then went to fall, then we had winter, and now this is the spring. Spring is in the air. Enjoy a little binary. Walmart. Oh, hey, look at that. Threw out Walmart. Were there a lot of Walmarts in the 80s? I don't think there were. I mean, they did exist, but they were certainly not all around the country. So, all right. So then we've got the finale here to that chapter. Then we've got all the Kickstarter backers, of which there are a lot. Then we got the character sheet, which I would take a wild stab. You can easily download the character sheet. So, got attributes, conditions, skills. Looks like everything's going to fit on one page. Yep, everything fits on one page. Nice. And we got an index in the back. And we've got the loop in Boulder City. The main reactor. Dun, dun, dun. All right, so that is what we find in Tales from the Loop from Free League and Modiphius Entertainment. And as I had mentioned previously, the core book is available. It's available for $46.99. It's 192 pages. And you can also get the PDF for $24.99 through Drive-Thru RPG. I will have a review of Tales from the Loop in the pretty near future. It's 192 pages. I can probably knock this out in about a weekend, checking this out. So very, very cool. I like that. All right, so that is it for today's show. I'm hoping everybody has a great weekend. Now on Monday, all right, where did I put it? Oh, like I said, I stack things up all over the place here. On Monday, I will be reviewing Raiders of the North Sea from Renegade Game Studio. I already kind of gave a little bit away. We're really digging this. We're probably gonna play this again this weekend. So I've got some stuff. I might be going over by my brother's and doing some gaming over there with Cameron, some of his friends, and my brother Greg. Probably join in. He's not a big gamer, but he was digging this. He really was enjoying this. He usually likes games where he's close to winning. So some games he kind of gets blown out. And he's like, yeah, I guess that was all right. But other games, and that's one of the things I like about Raiders of the North Sea is the games tend to be fairly close because there's different aspects you can go to score victory points. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, that'll be on Monday. So when you're not watching the Daily Dope or any other videos here on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. Come on, by now you know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. I will be back on Monday. So until then, have a very happy and safe weekend. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Thanks again for watching the video presented by The Gaming Gang. If you like this episode, be sure to give it a quick thumbs up. And if you dig the channel, please subscribe. If you'd like to check out our previous episode, click right here. And if you want to check out a somewhat randomly selected episode, give a click right down here. It'll be like opening a box of Cracker Jacks. You just don't know what you'll get. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'm Jeff McAleer.